Mm. We're just going to talk about Chiron square Mars very quickly and Venus in Aries very quickly. So I'm just going to wait to see if anybody jumps on and we'll go from there. Once again, the topic is Chiron square Mars today. Pretty volatile energy. And with Venus moving into Aries, yeah, that makes her, well, she's the fire warrior goddess. Now, I see that there's a couple watching, and so I'd appreciate it for those of you that are watching, if you can just put in the chat that you can hear me and see me so that I know that it's all good. Hey, Tina, middle of the night. Yeah, it's kind of a bit late here as well. Thanks for tuning in though. I do remember you very well. Um, so I just wanted to share a few thoughts and also hear from you guys about today being that Mars is at 19 degrees. Thanks, Tina. Mars is at 19 degrees of Cancer, exactly square Chiron at 19 degrees of Aries. So it's been a really interesting day for me personally. Not a pleasant one by any means. It is a very difficult portal with Mars. Now, Mars has been opposite Pluto, so it's been a very difficult Mars cycle period. You know, Mars retrograde in Cancer, which is its fall position, opposite Pluto. Um, Venus has just moved into Aries, like literally just in the last like 24 hours or so. Hmm. Look, Venus is heading towards her retrograde cycle, and she is in Aries, which is the horns. And as she approaches, I just did a quick video on Facebook, so I'm just going to repeat what I said. As she's getting towards these last stages of her evening star phase, in the Babylonian system, Venus actually corresponds to numerous divinities. Complex. Venus's cycle is probably the most complex cycle I've ever come across. So anyway, as she's heading towards this last sort of these last passages of her evening star phase, she actually, as she gets towards the end, before we see her for the last time in the evening sky as an evening star, she actually corresponds to the sign Taurus. And Taurus, of course, corresponds to the horns. And she's in Aries, which is another archetype that has horns. So this is quite an intense little pocket here of a period of transition that's coming up. Um, However, at this very moment right now, I wish to just maybe make some comments more so about Mars squaring Chiron. And very simply, I would just like to ask those of you who are watching right now, have you felt this energy today? And let me just give you some tips and ideas of uh, examples of how it shows up. So Chiron, of course, is many, many things, especially the healer, the teacher, the mentor. But Chiron, for us individually, typically corresponds to our own fucking pain, okay? What we've been subjected to by others, okay? Whether it's conscious, unconscious, intentional, doesn't matter how it's been, but it is our own pain that is just lying dormant. Okay. So when you have a planet like Mars, which is a very angry energy, yes, Mars corresponds to being a leader, being a warrior, being courageous, our impulses, our desires, all of that. But it also corresponds to anger. Okay. And when you have Mars squaring Chiron, the anger involved here corresponds to our own pain, our own experiences of injustices, people and situations and things where we've been subjected to intentional, as I said before, intentional manipulative wounding or unconsciously by others. It's a very complex energy, but basically, I'm just going to quickly read Tina's comment. Hmm. Yeah, well, jumping between different emotions, that's probably a pretty fair statement. With Mars in Cancer, we're talking about raw emotions, squaring Chiron, raw emotions being activated and triggered as a result of previous uh, injustices, um, things that have happened that have hurt us, basically. So this, in other words, what I'm saying is that this Mars Chiron square today can very easily activate these past windows, experiences. And I mean, it happened to me today with two separate events. One was with a person who, how can I put this? I'm just going to put it very directly because that's my style. A person who robbed, stole my energy for 3 years. Yeah, I allowed it. So I'm partly to blame, let's face it. But anyway, it was a very manipulative type of setup. Okay. And it's, how can I put it? That there's a lot of people on the planet who wish to steal from you energetically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, whatever way it is. And sometimes we fall into that trap, and sometimes um, we are taken, by their apparent niceness and so forth, until, of course, it's all revealed ultimately. Because when something or somebody approaches you and the intention is pure, it's never ever going to result to something being revealed to you at a later stage that caused harm to you, whether it was consciously or unconsciously. Some people are just absolute fucking vampires. Not some, many. This person is a vampire. They actually identify as a vampire. Anyway, I was just reminded of this vampire today, which really triggered me, really like just got my blood boiling because of how much this person stole from me. And now, and they're on YouTube, by the way, and they're not an astrologer, right? At all, nor will they ever be that. But they've just stolen my content, my teaching that I gave them for a long time, whatever sessions that I did with that person, and they're just regurgitating it and putting it out there as if they understand the language of the stars. Sometimes those things piss me off. For the most part, I just ignore it. For the most part, I just want to allow God to deal with it. And even in this case, I'm going to allow God to deal with it Hey, Larissa, Ivana, Palace. I'm just acknowledging the people that have jumped on. Thank you for being here. Um, yeah, I just at the end of the day, I just resort to God, the goddess, God, the goddess, divine source creation to all things. Not, well, how can I explain it? My faith is so strong in the divine source that I just leave it in the hands of that. And I try and learn from every experience. This was transiting Neptune on my Venus. Okay, so this person just blindsided me for a long time. This person is extremely manipulative, a fake, a phony. And I do want to actually say the name just to point it out. But on the other hand, the reason I'm not going to is because I know God is going to take care of it. Anyway, this has all come up during Mars Square Chiron because that person really hurt me from how much they stole from me, how much they manipulated me. And so yeah, it hurts. It's all just kind of come up today. And Venus is in Aries. And as I said, she's she's going to go retrograde soon. She's going to dip into the underworld. It's going to be for shorter, longer, and no period of invisibility, depending on one's latitude. So it depends where you are. Venus will not disappear at all. For those of us here in the southern hemisphere, she is going to actually disappear, which I'm happy about personally, and well, anybody else who works with the Venus cycle who understands the complexities of Venus's cycle as she dips into the underworld and just how powerful that is from a spiritual perspective, for lack of a better word, right? Um, Her dipping into the underworld is a massive, massive, massive opportunity for us ourselves individually to cleanse and purify, to reconnect with source, to sort things out that we need to internally. It's actually a very powerful um, transition, but when you are not aware of it, when you don't understand it, and you're caught up in people's manipulative games and BS, it can be a very painful experience because it can be an experience of feeling like you can't make things work with lovers, with friendships, with whatever. Because when Venus is in the underworld, she's clearing all that shit out. So unless you're aware of it and you can work with it, you're actually in a process of resistance and in a process of feeling like things are not working out. But things are working out. They're just working out in a much higher stream. It's just about understanding that. But I'm going to come back, as I've said already a couple of times, and actually do a complete session on this on my YouTube channel. It won't be a live, it'll just be a video that I record on Venus in Aries going retrograde and then being reborn as the Venus Aries star, morning star. Just going to quickly check some comments in case I've missed anything. Ivana has suggested international things trigger. Fuck yeah, me too. Yeah, totally relate to that. Hmm. Um, Thanks, Ella K. I really appreciate you being here for the first time and having a similar experience and for appreciating what I have to share. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you actually that are here, all of you. Yeah. Please say the initials Margot Lynn. It's a so-called DJ, right? Female. So it's not a person in the astrological community, but it's a person that stole from me for 3 years who's now trying to change their musical YouTube channel into bringing in astrology with music, trying to claim that they know what they're talking about. Look, I've always had this thing about me since I was a kid. It's never going to change. It's what God put inside me. And that is that I really, 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 really wholeheartedly dislike lies and fakes. I've called it out my entire life since I was a kid. It's never going to change. So even like now, as an adult in my later stage in life, yes, I will call it out, especially when Venus is in Aries. The truth, and your light and your ability to be open is always going to piss people off, especially if you have some placements in the 12th house, especially then, which I do. Um, but it's never going to stop me from being honest and speaking the truth. And sure, one could argue, well, okay, this is your personal experience, this is your personal opinion. Yeah, sure, it is my personal experience. Yeah, sure, it is my personal opinion. But if I was to bring this person forth and show you who they are and what they've actually done, then you would realize it's not just my personal opinion and personal experience. It's an absolute truth of a vampire trying to suck your blood. She identifies as a vampire. Now, there's one person that might jump on here who knows her really well. I'm not going to name you if you do jump on. I hope you don't. I'd rather not because I know you're in strong connection with her and I just don't want to know about any of it. But I bring this up today as an example of Mars square Chiron. Chiron being the pain that we have felt at some point, whether it's today, whether it's yesterday, whether it's 50 years ago. The pain of Chiron is something that it's very deep inside us. It doesn't go away, even if you remove that entity out of your life. It's like if somebody grabs a knife, right, and cuts your whole arm open or cuts your throat, are you ever going to forget that? You're not. You might disconnect, you might go to the police, you might do whatever, but you don't forget. That's why there's this thing called reincarnation, where we come back and we might re-meet a particular entity in order to either give ourselves an opportunity to rebalance things or the other way around, to have that entity rebalance the wrongs they've done to us, as it were. I mean, in truth, there's no right or wrong, but as human beings, we do actually do right and wrong, as it were. And I'm not talking about running through a red light or not wearing your seatbelt. Those kind of wrongs are just man-made fucked up rules. They're just like, they're neither here nor there. But when you're talking about deliberately, you know, in a really sinister manner, trying to manipulate or hurt people or steal from people, that makes my fucking blood boil, especially because I'm a Pallas Athena morning star. The morning star Pallas Athena, she is the goddess of war, the most strategic, wisest goddess. You cannot fuck with her. It's just how it is. Have any of you had some Chiron Mars experience today? It wouldn't have been easy if you had it. And if you had it, you would absolutely recognize it. You just see what other comments there are here, or any questions for that matter. Margot Lynn, I absolutely agree with your comment. 100%. 100%. Ivana, I did say some things that hopefully, as an example, maybe you can associate with it or maybe you can't. I don't know. Each soul, each person's experience is very different. Tina, yeah. Morning star, evening star, yeah, completely different. Doesn't mean it cannot work, but there is a hugely significant difference between how you operate and how the other person will operate. That is morning star versus evening star. Hey, Crooked Tail, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Back at you. Yeah, Margaline, I guess one of my favorite quotes, apart from what is it? The main quote that I love is every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. That's my first favorite quote. The other quote that I really love it, and I might be paraphrasing at the moment relative to your comment, Margot. It's something like, when people try to imitate you, it's like it should be seen as a flattery, like you should be flattered that someone is trying to imitate you. You know what? I get it, right? I get that. Okay, yeah, maybe I should be flattered that someone is trying to imitate me. But you see, when it comes to truth and honesty and integrity and being real and being authentic, um, that in the combination of somebody actually just stealing from me, um, when I put that two together, the result is I'm fucking pissed off. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it because I know how fake this person is. I don't like fakes. I don't like phonies, and I'm always gonna speak up on them. I don't give a fuck who it is. And this person is a fucking nobody. They're just a fucking vampire. I'm sure you've all had a vampire in your life, right? It's just, they just drain you. They're very extremely manipulative. Yeah. Crooked tail, Chiron in Taurus in my 12. Today something happened big to you. Okay, yeah. Your art has been stolen, Margot. Yeah, so then you understand how I'm feeling, right? Because astrology to me, it's many things, but it's also primarily an art. It's a spiritual art, a God-given gift art. There's so many things I could say, but I'm just refraining from revealing more. Mhm. I'm just reading Larissa Marty, mm, Your Own Mother. I can relate to that. Look, guys, thank you so much for being here and sharing, the different experiences that you're having or that you've had or that have come up for you today. Mars ruler is laughing or crying. I'm not sure if you're laughing or crying. Now, you look like you're laughing your ass off. Fair enough. I don't know what you're laughing at, but anyway, good luck to you. That's okay. It's all good. Margot, the Leo full moon will bring truth. It might, but it also might just bring exaggerated drama as well. We've always got to remember Leo can be very dramatic. And sometimes it's a beautiful thing, and sometimes it's a thing that can just do your fucking head in. Ivana, I'm just reading your comment about riding with a helmet. Someone told me, yeah, it's a sad, sad, sad reality with the amount of jealousy and theft. And when I say theft, I'm specifically referring to stealing people's energy, material content, things like that, because I'm a victim of that. And I've been silent about it for the last year and a half, but it's just gotten to that level now where I'm just seeing what this individual is trying to do on their YouTube channel. And word for word for fucking word is exactly what I taught her, right? What I shared with her. But it's fine, right? Because we all learn from each other. But this individual is trying to claim to be like some kind of authority, and they're not. They're a fucking phony. For example, they posted a post today on their Facebook page. Now I'll no longer see it because it's just like I've completely blocked and disconnected. Are you guys are aware of um the SWAT sticker, which is something that was used unfortunately during the times of Hitler? He had it, on his armor, on his gear. So unfortunately, when people don't have the awareness and understanding, they immediately go to the symbolism of that symbol equating to that time in history, right? Which connects to killing, slavery, whatever, right? All those sorts of things. Okay, terrible things, absolutely. But the thing is that that particular symbol actually derives from India from fucking thousands of years ago. And it actually corresponds to enlightenment and a series of other things connecting to a particular goddess, one goddess being Kali, yes, which is the goddess of destruction. But my point being that this person posted, oh, I go against, I just can't remember the terminology they use, but I go against, and they had a picture of that, um, let me just grab it in case I'm not pronouncing it correctly and people are not clear on what I'm saying. I've just forgotten even how to spell it. Just give me a sec. I'll just grab it. Okay, I know how I'll find it real quick because it's actually known as the Nazi symbol. Okay, there we go. All right. Actually, I can't share my screen here, can I? Okay. The swastika. Sorry, swastika. Swastika. Let me just type it in so that you're all on the same page. Swastika. Okay, so this is a symbol I'm referring to where this particular ignorant individual posts his sticker, right, and saying that, and this is relative to the politics happening in USA, okay, and bringing that symbol in, it's just total fucking ignorance, basically, because you've got to go to the root of anything, and the root to that symbol, I'll read it to you. A symbol used in various Eurasian religions and cultures. It is also seen in some African American ones in the Western world. It's recognized as the German Nazi symbol. Okay, blah 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 blah. However, if you go to the roots in India, namely Hinduism, that particular symbol has nothing to do with what the West has subsequently taken it to mean. Anyway, it's just an example of how ignorant this dumbass vampire is, okay, who tries to then steal my fucking material and then speak it on her channel. So I'm just, yeah, it's just, this is the Mars square Chiron. Like, this is this person really taking my energy for so long and just doing what she's doing, and I'm just like, I'm not in the mood for it. So I'm just sharing it. That's all. Because some of you might be having some similar experience. Let me go back to some comments. Artesia, I just read your comment. I acknowledge it. These are all very little things, but these little things, like the example that you gave about the 2-year-old and her father having a fit and so forth. This is classic Chiron square Mars energy. You know, that the point is, however, that it's tiny little incidences, right? That seemingly uh would be nothing under normal circumstances, but what they can do is they can fuel this incredible intensity and fire, which is so fucking irrational, right? That's the problem. Thanks, Margot. I heard another astrologer on Instagram just recently, basically calling out fake astrologers and, people who use the stars to justify their prejudices and political preference. The stars don't give a fuck about your political preference or your biases or prejudices. That's all man-made bullshit. That's our own stuff, the rights, the lefts, the fucking red, the blues, the fucking whatever, right? I'm gonna have a sip of my beer. Anyway, I'm just a bit fed up with BS and fake people. So I'm having a bit of a vent. Okay, I think somebody mentioned Ivana Diaz. I like your comment. Yes, I waited. I expose when it is my time. I love that comment because I actually said something very similar on a Facebook video I just did probably about 30 minutes ago. And I said, do you know what? Because I spoke on similar themes. Um, and I said, I'm not going to name the individual because I know God is going to take care of it. And what I mean by that is that divine timing comes in, it takes care of everything. It really does, especially when your heart is pure, clean, and the intent is pure. There's so many, there's so many injustices. Where do we even begin? Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of fake people. But you know what? I always come back to when I notice that, when I observe it, because naturally being public with what I share and speak about, I come across this a lot. And for the most part, I generally ignore it. Um, and sometimes there'll be moments where something will really piss me off, like it did today, simply because I know someone has stolen and robbed from me, and they are a fake and a phony. And for the average person, that doesn't understand astrology, they won't know that this person is a fake, and that it bothers me. It bothers me. Um, so, I mean, I can't expose every fake person because I'd be wasting and draining my energy and life away. But every now and then, when it's appropriate, I will speak up. And this is one of those times, even though I haven't named the person. But it's okay. As I said, God will take care of it. And as a side note, and I don't think I mentioned this, relative to Chiron square Mars, which is happening right now. And I talked about um, matters coming up for us where we've been hurt, whether we've been abused or whether somebody has stolen from us, consciously, unconsciously, whatever it is. I also had an incident today with a random stranger where I was just walking by and I was abused pretty severely. I'm actually making a report to the police about it because it was a critical incident. But that was just a Mars square Chiron moment where I just happened to be in a place where a person was, um, well, I mean, this person was very deranged. It wasn't a rational, logical person, but it was just unfortunate that I was in that zone. So I was the hook, that Chiron square Mars. That is, I was the hook for their pain and their anger. And I was just an innocent bystander just walking past. This is another reason I'm doing this live, right? Because it really fucking hit hard today and it tested me so much, it really tested me to to just basically try to detach from it. It's hard. It's hard. Look, sometimes we just, have to vent, absolutely. Um, I'm keeping it as cool as I can. But there are some fucking snakes and vampires out there, and like I said, that they'll be dealt with by the divine. So I'm just gonna leave it in those hands. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna head off. I just wanted to see who was around and see if anybody wanted to share and ask questions. And there's been a few of you here sharing and making comments and so forth. I appreciate all of you and I appreciate all your comments and I appreciate that you each may be going through your own version of this in some kind of way. Um, what can I say? Ultimately, what I wish for everybody um, is to have the courage to be honest and real and truthful, um, and to work through their own grievances within their own selves, and not steal from other people. The sacred language of the stars is exactly that. It's sacred. And when people fuck around with that, the morning star Pallas Athena inside me, who's Greek, doesn't like it very much at all. Big kiss from Netherlands. Thanks, Anna Maria. Same to you. And Margot Lynn, I adore you and I adore your artwork, by the way. You are such a beautiful artist. I've seen your work. It's magnificent. Anybody who has the privilege to see it is exactly that privilege. You're amazing. Just flicking through the comments. Larissa's giving me the prayer hand and the laughing. So yeah, it's like I don't know what to take from that, but okay, thank you. Thanks, Tina. I really appreciate that. I mean, if I can inspire even just one person, that means a lot to me. It's like this other astrologer that I follow on Instagram when she was talking about how people, use the language of the stars many of which are not competent to even do so, but are just fake, really fake, stealing, people's whatever, right? And regurgitating it and so forth, right? Um, Let me just go back to Tina's comment. Yes, I was talking about inspiration. Um, yeah, even if you just inspire one person, that's right. I've just come back to it. Thank you. This lady, this other astrologer on Facebook, on Instagram, sorry, who was talking about people misusing, okay, the language of the stars, went further to say that, um, that 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 people use it in order to gain numbers, right? To gain more views. That, in other words, when you have somebody who's speaking the sacred language of the stars, whose primary motivation is how many people watched my video, how many numbers did I get, how many followers have I got on my channel, I understand that's a natural human thing that, yeah, you want people to be watching, you want people to be engaging, sure. But if that's your primary fucking motivation, then there's a problem. There's a problem, a big problem, because that's not authentic. Because the most important eyes that you want watching you is God. That's it. If you're in alignment with that source and you are giving what has been gifted to you, it is those eyes that should matter the most. That's it. Mars ruler. Yeah, I do a little bit of cursing every now and then. The F word, love the F word, especially when, I want to express something like, there's a fucking vampire around who, has tried to contaminate my field for 3 years. And even though I've disconnected from that vampire well and truly over a year now, I'm scarred. I'm scarred by this vampire's predatory intentions. And it just came to my memory today with Mars square Chiron. It just came to my memory. So yeah. I don't have a problem using the curse word. I do apologize if it offends anybody. It's certainly not directed to those of you that might be watching and listening right now. It's merely just certain words that I may use to express a certain feeling. But thanks for laughing in the context of appreciating it. I guess you appreciated it, right? Perhaps. Um, just reading Anna Maria. Oh. Yeah, that just went right, 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 right through me. Anna Maria, what you just wrote. Thank you. Thanks, Ivana. I I do, and so do you. We all do. We all do. Just every now and then, we have these waves where certain things try to contaminate our field. And those things are usually they're vampires of some sort, right? And so, we all get swept up in certain situations. It happens to all of us. This situation, as I said before, it happened when Neptune was on my Venus. Venus is women. This person was a woman. Neptune is disillusionment, being disillusioned and disappointed, right? Because of the facade that ultimately was revealed. Because as soon as I blocked and cut this individual, they started doing the exactly same thing to another female astrologer because she contacted me and asked me, has this particular individual done blah, 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 blah to you? And I said, yes. Why do you ask? And she said, because this individual has just done the same fucking thing to me. So, there's snakes and vampires out there, and God is going to take care of everything. Sometimes we also need to speak up for ourselves, I think. Thanks, Larissa. Go do your thing. Do whatever you have to do. I'm heading off now as well. All right, much love, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Um, it was a random little moment, as it is when I do these lives. I just get into a particular state, feel like sharing, seeing who's out there. I love all of you so much. I really do. Thank you for being here. Okay, bye for now.